Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's a Ukrainian show on Pod TV. My name is Sasha Star, and our guest today is Dr. Jonathan Lockwood. Welcome to the show, Jonathan.
Thank you, Sasha. Glad to be here as always.
Okay, so our show initially started as Ukraine, Russia, China. We added Iran now simply because, not only because of what's happening there, it also affects other specifically Ukrainian situation. And lately, although it's so basically muted because everybody is waiting for what's happened. Declaration of peace or some agreement between Iran and the United States. It's unclear how Israel fits into that.
Israel right now is the X factor, the unknown factor.
Yeah,
Israel may do something that neither side expects.
especially you see, Jonathan, because Israel is now acting solely, almost solely against Lebanon and Hezbollah. And if Lebanon and Hezbollah is one thing and Iran is another thing, so okay, so you make a peace with Iran and we're going to continue to fight Hezbollah. But actually, I think Iran made it loud and clear that Lebanon and Hezbollah is a part of the Iranian coalition. So it's kind of difficult to see a peace with Iran, especially if it will be a Trumpian peace where they will start working together, $12 trillion project, oil, we control together a piece of Straits of Hormuz and so on. And at the same time, Israel is continuing to fight Hezbollah and later on Hamas, which didn't disappear actually within all that time.
Well, from President Trump's perspective, it looks like he's getting a great deal. So
yeah. But do you think it's possible that there will be complete peace and working together with the U.S. and Iran, and Israel continue to fight Hezbollah and Lebanon and Hamas and all that?
I would say that would be the optimum outcome. That would be a near perfect outcome. And how many times in human history have we ever seen a perfect outcome to any given war or any given conflict? As Clausewitz pointed out in his book On War, in war the result is never final.
Yeah,
never. The only circumstance under which, as we've discussed before, the only circumstance under which a war can be considered final is if you impose a Carthaginian peace in which the opponent is totally eliminated as a political entity, totally destroyed as a nation, and ceases to exist, essentially.
That wasn't Germany 45, wasn't that?
That was not quite a Carthaginian peace, because after all, Germany itself survived, but as a divided state. One under the control of the Soviet Union, the other under the control of the three Western allies. And eventually, after a number of decades, Germany has reemerged as an independent nation, but although with a much different form of government. That is not the same as a Carthaginian peace. Otherwise, we would have this great big vast wasteland where Germany used to be.
I would call it, though, Carthaginian peace plus Marshall Plan.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Carthaginian peace, we totally eliminated the political entity known as Nazi Germany, although there are some Nazis left over, probably quite arguably, but we have transformed it into if not a constitutional republic on the model of the United States, at least a democracy with some features of a constitutional republic. But it's relatively stable, relatively prosperous, and arguably in a much better situation than it could have emerged under Nazi Germany. So this is a victory of sorts. The United States is slowly coming to recognize that it cannot export democracy. It cannot make other nations democracies, because the United States, when it emerged, it was not a democracy. It has never been a democracy in the strict sense. As Benjamin Franklin we created a constitutional republic. And he says, what kind of government? I mean, Franklin replied to the people who asked, what kind of government have you created? He said, a republic, if you can keep it, from becoming something else. And so far, for the most part, we have succeeded in keeping it a constitutional republic. Although, as any careful observer would see, that there are internal stresses, internal factors at conflict. As James Madison put it, ambition must be made to counteract ambition. And you see this in operation in current United States politics. It's occurring in a much more violent and visible fashion than in many years before, but it has always had internal conflict, internal disagreements going on for its entire history. Ambition counteracting ambition. First one party is in power, then the other party is in power. And sometimes the parties even change. But as you see right now, the United States is in a very interesting position where it has near supreme military power, close to it, showing a vast array of technological capabilities and military capabilities that few, if any, nations have ever had in human history. And how it uses that power is going to be crucial for how the rest of the 21st century goes. Right now, Ukraine, for its part, and to its credit, has responded very well to the invasion by Russia, and it has managed to seize the strategic initiative. It is keeping Russia on the defensive. They are retaking territory slowly but steadily, and the Russian offensive is very clearly bogged down, and has done so to an extent that to the Western media, Ukraine is no longer the biggest piece of news. They've made the Ukraine war less interesting. Oh, gee, the Russians aren't taking over. Oh, gee, the Ukrainians haven't conquered Russia yet. Well, let's look at something else. So we go to Iran.
Jonathan, because of Ukrainian factor, Russians who can sell now as much oil as possible to anybody, whoever will pay for it, and so on. They don't have enough oil to deliver because of the Ukrainian destruction of all the refineries and all the facilities. Because this is an incredible story. Yes, Russia, go and sell oil. Oh, sorry, we don't have oil to sell. And also, don't forget that they're
we would say, we'd say to the Russians, well, don't blame us, blame the Iranians. After all, they're your allies, supposedly. And
this is, Jonathan, something what bothers me. I can't figure that out. There's a lot of similarities between Russia attacking much bigger, stronger country, supposedly, attacks Ukraine, and Russia is nuclear power and Ukraine is not. Same thing, much bigger, stronger U.S. attacks Iran. U.S. is nuclear power, it's the largest and biggest and strongest army in the world. Okay, now Russia is already fighting 5th year to conquer Ukraine. Nothing comes even close to it. U.S. Probably a little bit of the difference between Trump and Putin. Trump is still a little bit smarter than Putin because, okay, he attacked, he's done quite a lot of things, and then he goes back. You know, sometimes it's...
basically, he's holding back and saying, okay, have you had enough?
Yeah, so I'll give you a chance. Okay, think about, okay, I'll give you 36 hours. How about 72 hours? Okay, it's all yours. Okay, you can think, you can drink coffee, you can discuss the situation. But then in 72 hours, we are coming back with our swords and machinery and everything else, and it's going to be even worse than before.
Yeah, this is like Genghis Khan. It's like Genghis Khan when the Mongol hordes devastated and created a large empire, and he would threaten cities in his path. Either give us what we want or we will destroy you. And the cities in his path, they did not. And Genghis Khan, in his case, he carried out his threat and he destroyed the cities in front of him, killing millions of people, arguably.
Oh, by the way, Jonathan, I came up with a very, very good theory. Right now, there's the qualifying tournament in chess. Whoever will challenge the champion of the world, and it's almost 95%, 99% probably. that a grandmaster from Uzbekistan, Sindarov, very young player, 21, a lot of energy, a lot of aggressiveness, is crashing the field, and certainly he will challenge Indian star.
Well, Sasha, yeah, when I see chess tournaments like that, my attitude is I read a saying that to play chess well is a sign of intelligence. To play chess very well is a sign of a wasted life.
Very well done. Very well said. I think on the last chess show, somebody asked me how you can explain Grandmaster Sindarov from Uzbekistan being so brilliantly prepared, but mostly so his aggressiveness. Because even by leading the path by substantial margin, he still plays for a win. He won yet another game. And I came to the theory that Sindarov is from Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan takes its name and the nationhood from the Khan Uzbek, who was his generation. He was straight relative to Genghis Khan.
Oh.
So if you will take a parallel from Genghis Khan to Khan Uzbek, which is easy, Khan Uzbek was ruling Uzbekistan from 1300. Actually, not Uzbekistan only, he was all the Golden Horde. So essentially he was ruling Russia and all this territory, Khan Uzbek. So if you will go from Khan Uzbek to today's Uzbekistan, you can assume that almost all people of Uzbekistan taking its lead from Khan Uzbek. So therefore, that comes Grandmaster Sindarov. That's why he's so aggressive, because essentially he's taking his roots from Genghis Khan himself. Okay, so how was that? Yeah, everybody likes that series.
He may that young chess champion may well have some of the Genghis Khan's genes in his ancestry.
Yeah, actually, in Asia, I've heard the series that every 8th person is taking his roots from Genghis Khan.
Yeah, Genghis Khan, when his armies conquered, he had available to him all the women available, all the best women available, and one observer has pointed out he has left more human descendants than anyone in history.
Yeah, and if you remember, I think he was ruling China for a number of years. So,
certainly, maybe not the entirety of China, but certainly northern China, the area covering Mongolia, certainly what is now present-day Mongolia, Ulaanbaatar, and all those other those places. So yes, but even his empire had its limits. Mainly,
and by the way, the biggest mystery is that it's been discovered that Genghis Khan, he was born on the present territory of Russia, just 8 kilometers south of Lake Baikal. So, therefore, Russians now think that Genghis Khan is one of us. We are all relatives to Genghis Khan.
Which would explain an awful lot of their behavior.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And also they're trying to explain their tilt toward Asia from Europe, because they're saying essentially we are, first of all, by territory, obviously we are Asian country. Most of the country is in Asia, of course. But not only that, our character, our traits, personal, individual traits, they're all coming from Genghis Khan, from Asia, not from Europe. So therefore, we are considering ourselves as a part of Asia. It's kind of recent phenomenon, because as I remember, Russians always wanted to be part of Europe. Their customary lifestyle.
The Russian courts were speaking French. They were speaking French as a second language, because Peter the Great wanted the Russians to be perceived as more European in flavor and behaviors. And so French became a favorite language, or diplomatic language for the Russians.
Absolutely. At that time, who would think about Genghis Khan being father of all Russia? Because he couldn't speak French.
Right.
So how?
If you want to get cognitive dissonance, try imagining Genghis Khan speaking French. It just makes your head hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of strange phenomenon. So, while we are waiting today for the verdict, I think tomorrow they're ready to sign a peace agreement.
Yes.
Uh,
Now I will admit I am as fascinated as you are as to the potential outcome here. Okay, is Iran going to blink and say, "Okay, we've had enough, we'll sign," or is Iran going to say, "We think President Trump is going to blink and give us a few more days or be more flexible. We'll take it." So this is both a diplomatic contest as well as a test of wills. It is no longer it is not a military contest because quite obviously the United States has far the upper hand in this sort of conflict. There are exceptions, for example, that analysts debate. I noticed they've been focusing on what if the United States invades and takes Karg Island, which is, of course, controls about 90% of the refined oil. And that would put a very severe economic squeeze on Iran. But also, other analysts say that in order to support that, they would also have to take the 5 little islands in the Strait of Hormuz in order to try to hold open the Strait of Hormuz to allow, and they would have to be able to guard it. They would have to be able to guard it sufficiently so that Iran could not, with its remaining whatever remaining capability it has, strike or intimidate tankers from trying to cross through. Now enter Ukraine. Ukraine could say, and may well be saying right now, we will offer you protection with systems with anti-drone capability and anti-missile capability. And they may also be talking to the Israelis as, hey, help us out here. Help us out here, and we will be able to jointly defeat both the Iranians and your opponents as well and give you protection. So you've got these multi-party agreements going on between various parties. It's not strictly between two parties. There are multiple negotiations going on, which we have no idea about what's occurring. But you can see the possible effects of this multiple party discussion going on. So right now it is a fascinating and very complex series of diplomatic negotiations, economic pressure, and military, and the United States trying to convince Iran with its military supremacy. Further resistance is not going to do you any good. Come to a deal, make a deal. And so all of these dynamics are going on. And of course, complicated by the fact that President Trump definitely does not like to be seen as a loser. He wants to be on the winning side, say in both cases. So he's not really interfering with Ukraine and its offensive against Russia.
No, not at all. Actually, Russia now, they are amplifying the idea that it's not just peace between US and Iran, but also between Russia and Ukraine. All has to be done simultaneously as a deal for everyone, for all countries, and so on and so on. I'm not so sure, although Trump was working fairly hard to have a peace between Russia and Ukraine, but even that failed. And the peace
that's because you have
too many things at the same time.
You have two nations, as really, since I've stated since the very beginning, with Russia and Ukraine, you have two nations with politically irreconcilable objectives. Russia does not want Ukraine to exist. Ukraine wants Russia, leave us alone. We don't want any part of you.
But John, the same could be said about Iran and US, about differences.
Yeah, except with the minor exception that, as people in the U.S. have pointed out, that for the past 47 years, the Iranian leadership and its ayatollahs have been chanting things like "Death to America." Well, yeah, if you have a nation across the way that's always been saying death to America, well, you can pretty much conclude that the people of that the leadership of that nation is not interested in letting you have a nice day and live in peace. So you get these. Apparently, President Trump decided, after watching all of this for quite a number of years, he decided enough is enough. We are going to settle this, and they're not going to do it the easy way, so we're going to do it the hard way. So we'll see how that approach works out.
But when you said Death of America, it was not a serious slogan. I think all what it is, or it was, no, that's the right way to do it. It was, I think, part of their mythology. So there was a great Satan and the little Satan Israel and so on. So it was mythology to explain how the world works, how the world exists, and so on. Because at no point in 47 years, Iran had anything, even remotely possibilities to do any harm to U.S. Even this 9/11, there was some potent action to hurt United States, not to defeat, but at least hurt. Iranians couldn't done even that, even close. So therefore, okay, you can take figuratively, okay, you want to believe in death to America and Israel, and maybe to Russia and France and England, probably Canada. Is it so absurd? Let's put it this way. It's so absurd that nobody in his right mind thinks that, oh, they want to destroy America. They just said that they want to destroy America. They couldn't destroy Israel for 7 years, which is much closer and much smaller.
And certainly from the American perspective, Iran had no possibility whatsoever of being able to invade the United States and destroy it in the manner of Genghis Khan. They have none of the required capabilities to do it. They cannot dominate globally navally. They cannot project power. They cannot overwhelm the United States with superior technology. So in no way could Iran realistically threaten the destruction of the United States. On the other hand, the United States, if it were sufficiently motivated enough to do so, could turn much of Iran into a parking lot. So right now
we actually damage parking.
Yes, and so really, so right now, President Trump is in the peculiar position of having overwhelming military superiority against Iran, and even demonstrating it in a very interesting way. When one American pilot, when one F-15 was shot down last Friday over Iran, and the one pilot was immediately rescued, and one pilot was lost inside of Iran. And the United States uses most of its technological superiority to find this one pilot and get him out of there.
Jonathan, this is a great story for American people about same as Saving Private Ryan.
Exactly.
But Jonathan, give me a break. There's something really strange about all this. First of all, okay, so the plane was shot, and two pilots catapulted from this plane. However, they landed about 10 kilometers apart. How is that ever possible? It cannot be. So this is number one. Number two, so this was rescued, okay, and another one, he was, I think he was wounded, and yet he climbed the mountain of 6,000 feet back and hiding, and then there was a rescue of 10 or 11 planes and helicopters, and some of them were wounded, and some of them were Americans destroyed some of that stuff, so Iranians would have handled it. This is all, to me, it says that could be a part of the rescue operation, but not the pilot, rescue the 400 kilos of enriched uranium.
That could be an unstated part.
Unstated. Yeah, I agree with that. So the pilot could be rescued at the same time as the first pilot, but they would play that he's hiding, rescue, he's climbing mountains and all that stuff, in order to give themselves time to try, because it was all in the vicinity of Isfahan, and that's most likely where this 400 kilos. Okay, there was not found yet.
Right.
But one of the goals, find and get custody.
And at the very minimum, what this rescue mission did do was, by process of elimination, it's like, okay, we know where that nuclear material is not. We can eliminate, and now we would concentrate our intelligence capabilities on saying, okay, given that we know where the fissile material is not located, now we can concentrate on where the more likely spots that material is located for any potential future operations. So it is not done without purpose, but again, it's still a very challenging problem, regardless.
It is, because nobody knows where it is. It could be split into several smaller portions and hidden anywhere in Iran. But this is one of the very important points of the US campaign. Same as now, well, it wasn't the beginning of the campaign, but now it's reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, because it was open before the American campaign. Now, Iranians are saying that actually nobody closed the Strait of Hormuz. It's open, not for everybody, but a lot of ships are going through Strait of Hormuz. It's open as we speak. So,
and the Trump administration is going to come back and say, no, we want it open for everybody. Or, yeah, again, then comes the implied threat.
Yeah.
Yes, it's okay. You still have water desalination plants that haven't been struck yet. That would be, yeah, if you strike the water desalination plants, I mean, I saw a recent historical article about the city of Tehran, which shows that the living conditions in the city of Tehran over the past 2 or 3 decades, there's increased level of pollution. You have this very serious pollution problem. You also have very serious water problems, quality of the water, drinking water. So right now, their ability to support their own population is in serious danger. That's in normal peacetime conditions, never mind if there's serious military action going on. So President Trump has yet another potential lever, saying, look, let's come to an agreement, and he actually states his threats. He doesn't conceal what he's going to do. He just says, and you can almost fully expect, he said, if you don't come to the table, if you don't open the Strait of Hormuz, if you don't act as if you really desire peace, well, then next your water desalination plants can be struck, and you will be in a very serious survival problem. And he's just he won't conceal it. So again, it remains to be seen whether or not he will actually go to that additional step towards a possible Carthaginian peace.
Well, so this is might well remain a threat, but very serious. And
oh yes, they can still use it. They can still carry out the threat. The question is, will he have to carry it out? That is a matter of political will and political perception. Yeah. So it still remains a very he is threatening checkmate.
It is something what is so close, and as much close as checkmate as ever possible. Jonathan, thank you so much for today's program. I think we'll wait until tomorrow and we'll discuss everything coming Tuesday, same place, same time. In the meantime, have a great weekend, and all our listeners. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.